film review, movies, music, culture, politics, society podcast, interviews, movie reviews, and more. Live Sundays at 5:30 p.m. on Facebook at Crazon Dion. Everybody says that there's something after this life, but everyone acts like it isn't. Everybody says that there's something after this life, but everyone acts like it isn't. Now, do you see the difference in what we're saying there, right? Everybody says that there's something after this, but everyone acts as if it isn't, right? What does that mean? What does that exactly mean, right? Everybody is in total agreement that there's something, but then when you're an individual, right, having to act upon something, to change something that's going on, well, then the whole situation seems to change off from being so sure. Mm-hmm. And what do I mean by that? Either it's too good, or it ain't nothing to come back to tell. Now, what do I mean by that?
So, yeah, what do you mean?
Okay. A lot of times people leave this planet every day. Every day.
Right.
In this form, on this side of the sphere.
Okay.
And no one ever comes back to tell you what's going on.
Well, some people have loved ones that come back to them in their dreams.
Dreams is very good, very good. And I have to say to that dreams are just the consciousness of the person who is dreaming.
Well, what about those, because I have also heard of people who have actually felt the energy of their loved one, or they felt a touch, or they physically saw something, whether it's like an image that connected them to that loved one that passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So
is that not psychosis? When you feel like something is touching you?
Well, what about
you don't see
about when you, for example, we, have heard of, stories of people who have seen, like, their loved ones.
What they see?
So maybe so you're saying psychosis. So it's in their mind.
It's in their mind. It's imagination.
Okay.
It's kind of like maybe if you like we're not going back to last week, but it might be in the mind.
So what about images? Like certain birds or certain flowers or certain songs. You turn on the radio and a certain song.
So just because I'm just breaking this down now. So just because a certain record comes on the radio,
when you're thinking about that person, well, you could be thinking about the person and the song comes on.
And somehow the song came on that was already preset to release, because there are no DJs anymore that just dropping needles. This is a preset situation that's happening, right? So just because this particular song comes on at that moment, right? Then you're thinking about the person, right?
It's possible.
Or there's a bird or a bee. Could it be a bug? I mean, what about spiders? And if you see a spider on the wall, is that possibly?
If the person's loved one loved spiders, if they had an affinity for spiders, or they collected spiders, or hey, ladybugs. If it was a person who loved ladybugs.
What happens if the ladybugs come, right? And you say, "Oh, that's the ladybugs," but then they get on you and they start biting you.
Okay, no.
And then what happens then? You know what I mean?
Okay, so what?
So what I'm saying, so like there used to be a book. I think they programmed us with this, and there was a book called Ibn, and I remember Ibn was being followed by an orange leaf.
Oh, okay.
See, Ibn didn't have no friends.
Okay.
But Ibn asked for a friend.
Okay.
He prayed for a friend, and this leaf
was his friend.
Kept following him around, but he didn't want to be followed by the leaf. Why is this leaf blowing and coming by me? What does this leaf want? Like, why is this thing following me? And he said, "Go away, leaf, and don't come back." So what happens at the end of the book, for spoilers, it's a spoiler, is that an orange dog comes in the place of the leaf, and Ibn is sad at first, but then the dog is more, what you could consider as a friend, and so then it went off happily ever after until later. Until later, dog years are older than human years, and probably by the time Ibn turned 18, the orange dog, full furry dog, passed away. Okay. Now, if Ibn sees that dog again, was the leaf a psychosis, or seeing the dog after the dog passes on is a psychosis?
Okay, so what's your point?
Okay. All right, so this is what I'm saying. It's like this. Me, I'm the type of person that I want to know what all of this means. So if anyone was to come, any of my loved ones to come back, they would know that I would have one question and one question only for them. So if a person comes back in my dream, then I'll say, well, that was just my consciousness floating at that moment, because in thinking about that person, my unconscious, because I would be asleep, my unconscious thinking about that person, because if that person is coming back and they're just sitting around visiting with me, well, you're not answering my question of what's going on, right?
They're chilling with you.
Yeah, they're just chilling, you know what I'm saying? Well, what are you chilling for? You need to come back and tell me some answers. So now, I received a note from, this is why this subject comes up. I received a message from a person, and because a particular important person to the community passed on. Okay. And she had left me information, links to watch different people to talk about life after death and things like that. So it's this woman, and she's sitting up there. She's an elderly Caucasian woman, and she's sitting up there talking about life after death. And she says that there's no such thing as hell, right? And really the concept of heaven is not really a real construct too. That's something that she was alluding to, the government had made, right? So she was alluding to this, and she was saying that this is what's happening. And really what happens is you're in, let me make sure I got this right. I got it written down. I want to make sure I say the right thing, right? So she says that you're in like stations. I call it stations, where depending on what you knew or what you learned, you go to a particular level in this afterlife. But if you didn't learn what you were supposed to learn, you perpetually go back until you get it wrong. So there is no right or wrong. You're not going to be punished for all the wrong things that you do. And it's going to be a perpetual situation where you're getting to these higher levels till you get to the level you're supposed to be. But if you don't ever get there, you got to go back again. But here's the catch. You don't know that you go back. Okay. Which is, I guess you would call that the reincarnation theory, right? She wasn't labeling it, but it's the reincarnation theory, right? And I listened to that, and I said that had to be some of the most unbelievable hogwash that I had ever heard. Now listen.
Well, that's kind of, Shirley MacLaine, actress, right? She believed that you reap in the next life what you sow. And she teaches the doctrine of eternal judgment following death. So that was Shirley MacLaine.
Okay, so eternal judgment is like you're going to hell. than if you're doing something wrong. But this woman was saying that, you know, you don't get judged. There is no judgment. You just have to keep on perpetually replaying in a different form, in a new life, continue over and over again. And I'm like, this sounds like some. So let me get this right. Let me put this into perspective of what people can understand, what people could relate to. You're a Caucasian police officer. You kill an innocent black person, and you know you didn't learn what you need to learn, and you get off in this life, and then when you die, you don't get any punishment. You just perpetually able to go on and come back and do it again, and do it again, and do it again, and do it again until you get it right.
Well, that's the woman's belief.
That's the woman's belief. You know what I'm saying? So that would basically put people who have practiced white supremacy and racism, pretty much let them off the hook. Well, I didn't know, and so I can perpetually keep going over.
Isn't that wishful thinking? Isn't that's that woman's wishful thinking, right? Which would excuse all of her, you know, ills and maybe wickedness that maybe she's done throughout life, maybe, right? So this is something that maybe she holds on to make her feel better as a human being, and hoping that later, as she moved on in life, as she passed on, that there wouldn't be any repercussion.
That's right.
Right. So this is just her wishful thinking.
Her wishful thinking. But other than that, everybody gets let off the hook for what they do. No. What's this all about? What's I see DG just came on. I see that Donald Randell is on. We want to shout out to him. You know what I mean? So look. You're sitting here and you're listening to this, and it's total nonsense. So everybody says that there's something after this life, but everyone acts like it is. People are not willing to stand up for issues, because I guess they shot that out of us when they killed Malcolm and Martin. Shot that out of us. Okay.
Not all of them.
So people don't want to stand, because when it comes time, because it's hard to stand, because you know that you will lose your life. But isn't there something after this that's better, that if you do put your life on the line, that you will be in a better place? Except for, that's why I said in the beginning, people have left, and people say that there's something after this, but they don't. But either it's too good, or it really ain't nothing after this to talk about, right? So that's the topic, which leads into our next movie.
The Film Review, movies, music, culture, politics, society podcast, interviews, movie reviews, and more. Live Sundays at 5:30 p.m. on Facebook at Crazon Dion.